Hey Juventini, the news is wild today surrounding Juventus, okay? We've got Juve inquiring about Jean-Claire Todibo, Donnarumma, a concrete idea, an offer for Zaniolo, Juve backing out of the Kessie move. We've got the midfield situation and what's going to happen at the midfield for Juventus and more wiretaps. Plus, we've got a game to talk about. Juve beating Real Madrid 3-1 yesterday in the friendly, all right? So all that right now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is the AJC. I'm Alberto. Let's rock. We're going to kick things off with Zaniolo. Juve, the reports came out that had put forth an offer of 23 million euros for the player. Then more sources came out saying it was actually 30 million euros until finally our boy Mirko Di Natale comes in and says, no, Juve has put no official bid in for the player. The only recent bid that came in was out of Saudi Arabia. So Juve is not in for Zaniolo. All right. Now, as far as Juve and Barcelona go, it was reported, had reached an agreement on the Kessie move. All right. And it was all agreed upon and done. Several hours later, reports break out saying that Juve is backed out completely because Kessie is unwilling to return to Serie A. He is going to take a look at the interest coming out of the Prem from Tottenham most recently, all right? So Juve apparently backed out of the Kessie move completely. Donnarumma, his name continues to swirl around Juventus and you're seeing everywhere. Giovanni Albanese goes as far as saying he is a concrete idea for Juve. But the one biggest stipulation in there says if Tech leaves, all right, which I don't see happening. Furthermore, even if Tech would leave, we have to sell. We have to sell even to make some lower profile moves than Donnarumma. So I just don't see this happening whatsoever. The last time we heard from some credible sources on who the names would be should Tech leave, it was Carnesecchi and it was Odero, all right? So I would probably believe that more than a high profile move like Donnarumma, all right? But who knows? Anything can happen, all right? Weston McKennie, Hans-Nico Lucci, Caviglia, and Miretti, the midfield. What is going to happen, okay? So the latest reports are that next week, early next week, Juve and Salernitana are going to meet about closing the deals for Hans-Nico Lucci, Caviglia, and Miretti, all right? Now, what's interesting here is the midfield situation we're in because the media headlines today report that Weston McKennie is going to be sticking around at Juventus due to our midfield situation. But what exactly is that situation? Well, when it comes to Weston McKennie, it's different than Hans-Nico Lucci, Caviglia, and Miretti. With Weston McKennie, we value him at 30 million euros. He's simply not interested in the Turkish league where Galatasaray was interested in bringing him in, and he had no interest in going to the couple clubs that did come forth from the Premier League. So we can't find a move for him. And furthermore, the situation is Paul Pogba's health. The latest reports, again, yesterday we reported that it was good news, it was good signs. He had got into group training over the past couple days. However, today we hear that every time his workload ramps up, the knee pain returns, all right? And this is a bad sign. How does this affect Nico Lucci, Caviglia, and Miretti? Well, I think you have to hang tight on making any decisions there, all right? And you still have Rovella, who's out for 20 days, which takes him close to the start of the season, but you have to make a decision in the midfield because right now, as it stands, if Pogba's health continued to progress, what I would expect out of our midfields, if you're going to play three, is we would probably end up with Fagioli, Locatelli, Rabiot, Pogba, one of Nico Lucci, Caviglia, or Rovella, and then McKennie to round things out. So you kind of have to wait and see because if all of a sudden Pogba is going to be this major question mark through the whole way and we can't even have a timeline because it's still being reported that it's unknown when he returns, I think you really have to pump the brakes on the Miretti loan as well. And Nico Lucci, Caviglia is kind of playing on to that Rovella situation. So the midfield's very interesting still for Juve. We have to wait and see what's going to go down, all right? Jean-Claire Todibo. Juve apparently inquired with Nice on the player to see what's going to take to make a move. Giuntoli has always appreciated the player, but before everybody gets too excited, Mirko Di Natale comes in, and this is interesting because Fabrizio Romano is the one that broke out the Jean-Claire Todibo report. Mirko Di Natale contradicting him and saying, no, he is not a target for Juventus. So it'll be interesting to see what develops there as we have a clash between Fabrizio Romano and Mirko Di Natale. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Now, as far as the forward situation goes, Juve apparently have Alvaro Morata's yes. They have a yes from the player. He is seen as an alternative to Lukaku. This is strange on a couple of levels, but number one, the Lukaku deal and where it stands with Juve and Chelsea and whatnot, apparently the gap is massive because we are hearing about 40 million euros Juve would like on top of the swap between Vlahovic and Lukaku. Apparently Chelsea only wants to pay half of that, so they are miles apart, but latest reports suggest that this could be a standoff that goes late into August and potentially still sees itself through. So this is going to be one we're going to be following apparently for the rest of the mercato. It's going to be interesting. In the meantime, Juve played Real Madrid last night 3-1, and you just knew when he entered the pitch he was going to score, but Dusan Vlahovic finds himself a goal, does a move very similar to that of Paulo Dybala's when facing criticism and rumors and reports suggest he's leaving and everything, and pops up the kit with his name on the back and everything. Whether it's aimed at critics, whether it's aimed at the Juve brass, it really doesn't matter. Ultimately, the team is going to decide what moves they want to make and whatnot, but the Vlahovic thing, you just knew he was going to score and get fans ramped up and just add more fuel to this story, because around Juventus you could have it no other way as far as the game goes. And with Vlahovic, we have to just wait and see. Time will tell what's going to happen. All right, everybody knows my opinion on the move and everything, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to come down to what the club wants to do. In terms of this game, what a brilliant start to the game from Juventus. Really capitalized on errors early by Real Madrid. Got off to a 2-0 lead. Okay, goals from Moise Kean and Timothy Weah. Okay, McKennie being a protagonist at the start of that game, looking very, very strong. And then, like I said, outside of 25-30 minutes, Real Madrid did start to grow, did start to get in this game, and then this was a classic Allegri match. Hot start, and then a lot of defending in between, but a strong finish when we made personnel changes, and Ealing Jr. looked really, really good when he came in. Houston continues to impress me with his composure. He's going to be an absolute beauty. And we found the third goal, all right, but a lot of defending in there. Now, my only takeaway is this. I do like our counterattacks. They look sharp. They look crisp. I think we can hurt teams this year more than we did in last season, that's for sure. As far as the build-up in normal circumstances, need a little bit more variance, but there are some signs there. Okay, something we still need to work on in terms of defending. A little loose still, but that's Real Madrid. This was going to be a bigger test, a much bigger test than AC Milan. No disrespect to them, and the game played out a much better game to watch as a fan than the game against Milan, which was a sleeper for the most part. But Juve's got some work to do in terms of balancing play, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people misinterpreted me when I said this yesterday in my tweet, saying that I need to see a little more balance in play. I'm not looking for us to dominate possession against a class midfield like that of Madrid's, okay? But what I am looking for is when we are in possession, being able to relieve our defense more than we're capable of at the moment. For the large portion of this game, we were all, including our forwards, about 30 yards out from our goal. That just can't happen. And when you get possession, obviously you're going to struggle with it to keep it when you're all pinned back like that. So we have to just work on that, because at the end of the day, we gave up 34 attempts, all right? And Madrid didn't have their shooting boots on and missed the target a lot, but that's a lot of attempts that we gave up. So we just have to work on that. I'm not looking to dominate possession against teams that outclass us like that in terms of the midfield, but in terms of our possession, it has to be balanced a little better, has to be more quality when we are on it, just to offer up more relief. Because when we're pinned back like that, the turnovers come over, and that's how you end up with a game where you give up 34 attempts. Nonetheless, Juve looked strong on the counters. We hurt them, and we were able to get the win, which is still a big boost at the end of the day. Moving into our final preseason, which will come against Atalanta, and then we'll get ready for the season. All right. So, hey, you know the drill. I want to know what you think about the game. Last, certainly not least, wiretaps. Wiretaps. More reports on wiretaps. This comes from calciomercato.com. We'll have to see what goes on, but essentially, they are stating that there's wiretaps been found about Cherubini and even including Mana speaking about the Odero move, and Cherubini simply admitting, yeah, we've done something like this, referring to Post-Valenza capital gains and whatnot with Odero. And this is one of the deals that was cited that Agnelli is actually facing in his case too. So it's very, very interesting to see what's going to come of this. But nonetheless, that is the latest report. We'll have to just see what happens, all right? But fingers crossed that it just gets dealt with cleanly, all right? Now, that is your full report on today. There was a flurry of news. Can't wait to hear from all of you on everything because there was so much today. But you know the drill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know all your thoughts, questions, comments, opinions in the comment section of this video, and let's mix it up, and I'll be back tomorrow with another update. Till then, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao tutti.